Okay, today we're going to kick off the Pythagorean theorem unit, but before we really dive into that theorem, we really need to understand the different parts of a right triangle. So let's get started. By the way, sixth hour, please, I forgot to give you your notes, but please go ahead and take your own notes, and we will check those tomorrow. So, what is a right triangle? If we look at this triangle, a right triangle is any triangle that has a 90-degree angle. When we look at the right triangles, we will, there are certain parts that we call, that have names. First, the right angle, we're going to call that this little box that's uh, with the two perpendicular lines, because this forms a 90-degree angle. The diagonal is always going to be called our hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always on the opposite side of our right angle. And then over here on the left, we are going to call that a leg, and on the bottom, we're also going to call that a leg. Now, if we look at just the outsides, our two legs and our hypotenuse, we tend to associate different letters with those. The shortest leg is always typically A. The longer leg is B, and then that diagonal is C. Sometimes we can interchange A and B, but ultimately, C always has to be that diagonal. Okay. If we continue with this, given A equals 3, B equals 4, and C equals 5, label the right triangles with the appropriate dimensions. Okay, so we're going to label A, B, and C. Well, our shortest leg here on this right triangle, so again, I want you to draw in that right angle to really show that this is a right triangle. And we're going to label this one A, this one B, and this one C, which means shortest leg, longest leg, hypotenuse. Okay? We know that A equals 3 then, B equals 4, and C equals 5. On this triangle over here, just because the triangle is looking, going in a different direction, does not mean that the letters are going to change. We still have our 90-degree angle right here, or our right angle. It's still a right triangle, which means we're still going to have the shortest leg, the longest leg, and our hypotenuse. So this is going to be 3, 4, and 5. So be careful as we're labeling these. It does not matter which direction the right angle or the right triangle is facing. You simply always start with that right angle where that's at. You know that the one across from it, or that diagonal, is going to be your hypotenuse, which is C. And then you look at your two legs, figure out which one's shorter, which one's longer. Looking at this, here the right angle is given. So we know that the side opposite of the right angle is going to be our C. Okay, continuing on, we're going to label this one because it's our longer leg. Now that we know that the hypotenuse is C, this is going to be B, and this one's going to be A. Okay, which number represents the hypotenuse out of all of these? And so we know this is a right triangle, so what we need to locate first is that right angle. Once we found that, the side opposite of it is always C, which is our hypotenuse. So our hypotenuse equals 29. Okay. Which numbers represent the legs of the triangle? Well, right triangle. If we know that this is our 90-degree angle and this is our hypotenuse, then that means that these two have to be our legs. Okay? So hopefully that helps kind of depict what the right triangles and the parts of right triangles are. Tomorrow we'll do some worksheets and activities around this, and then we'll start diving in here in a couple days over the Pythagorean theorem. Hope that helps.